Okay, so the next part, once you have your leaf, your soft slab stamped with your pattern and your edges kind of smoothed out, we're going to want it to create a little bit of a curve and put something on the bottom. So we're going to use a mold for this. It's really technically called a drape mold because we're going to use something rounded. See again how I kind of pick up the edge of the canvas there and then gently lift it to release it. So this is still soft slab. So it's very floppy, it's very malleable, and we want it to kind of create a little bit of a curve in here so that you know, it works as a dish. So we're going to need to find something round to place this on. And I kind of looked around my house and I found a couple options, and this is what I found, and you guys are going to need to be a little creative here. But I actually found a couple things. First of all, I went outside and I found some rocks. But I found some smooth, round rocks. So if I wanted to use that to kind of create just a little bit, there's a little bit of a flat side on this rock. A little bit of dirt too. Maybe I should clean that rock off. But I can kind of look at that shape of that rock and say, oh yeah, actually that's kind of interesting. That would work really nicely to make the shape of the dish. If it's a bad day out or you haven't found a rock that works well for you, they're too bumpy. I also found, just in my kitchen cabinets, I found a glass bowl. Now the glass bowl, or the bowl that I found, one of the things that is important is I'm going to want to find something that does not have like a recessed foot or a ring around here that sticks up, because that impression will go on here too. So I chose this bowl because, I don't know if you can see it under the camera, but it's smooth. It is flattened here, so I will get a flat edge, but there's no bumpy spot at the corner, or a raised foot ring, or a recessed foot is what I would call that. If you find a plate that has that little ridge, I would put that back and I would try to find something else. So I'm going to go ahead, I think I'm going to use the bowl just because this rock is nice. I like the shape, but I feel like the size of the bowl is better for the amount of curve I want. So I'm going to try the bowl. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to want to do is, I don't want the clay to stick to the bowl. I'm going to need to be able to pull that off of there. So I'm going to need something that can work as a release agent. So I need to put something on this bowl that'll help me get it off. I just grabbed a paper towel, and I'm going to set it on there before I put the leaf down. One of the things I'm anticipating happening, and I'll have to see if this bothers me or not, is that this paper towel has texture to it, and the clay is very soft. So there is a likelihood that the clay could take on a little bit of this bumpy texture. So if you have a smoother paper towel, better. The other thing I could do, if I wanted to, is I could take just another plastic bag that would work as a release agent, and I could kind of hold that down and put that over it. That would probably leave something smoother. It will, however, take it a little bit longer to dry, because the air will come down from the top and dry the bottom of the pot, but it won't be drying from the underside. So it might take a little bit more babysitting just to kind of watch it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take I'm going to take a risk here, and I'm going to go with the paper towel, and I'm going to pick this up, just setting my paper towel on the bowl. And then I want, when I look at the dish, I want the inside of the dish to have the leaf, not the back side. So I have to flip this over on top of the bowl, and I'm going to sort of position it that there's the flat part, and then I'm just going to kind of gently press. I'm not going to push down all at once. I'm just going to kind of gently press along the curved part and kind of slowly work my way around until I get it to curve and get a little bit of a lip on it. Now, when I did do the edges of the leaf, I only did the one side, so this edge looks a little bit rough. So I'm going to go back to my sponge. Mine still has some moisture in it, but if it doesn't, just get it a little bit moist again. And now I'm going to take And I'm going to get these other edges, because when clay dries, those little kind of bumpy looking spots, they dry pretty sharp. And it's not nice to use a dish that has sharp edges. So I'm just going to take my time and smooth those edges out. This time, I'm not going to use my finger to go back. I'm just going to get it with the sponge. And if my sponge gets too hard to work with, because what will happen is over time, the clay will build up in the sponge and it's not going to work as nicely. So what I'm going to do is over here, off camera, I shouldn't be off camera, I've got my dish. I'm going to wring that out. Now, if at the end of working with clay, you've only got a little bit of muddy water in here, I'd say it's okay to dump it in your sink or your toilet. But honestly, it's not great for your plumbing. So if you have the ability, especially if there's like goop down in the water, I would throw it outside. So I'm going to throw this outside in the yard. If I don't have the ability to do that, I'm at the very least going to scoop out any chunks that might be in the bottom and put those in the garbage can. And make sure only liquid goes down the drain or into the toilet. Might be a better place than in the kitchen sink. So I'm going to smooth those edges. And then I want the little end of the leaf to come out a little bit, so I'm just going to kind of pull that up. That's what's nice about soft slabs, is that you can squish them still. I'm going to shape that, and then while that's sitting on there, I'm going to create the foot. So that'll be the next step. After this sets up for just a little while, we'll go back and we'll add a little bit of a foot ring so that it sits more level on the table.